Hey everybody, welcome here. Another great episode of the Contractor Business Builder podcast. We have the honor of hosting Robert Peterson. He is the owner of Add Value to Life Coaching, and he's going to be sharing with us how to be more profitable in our business and giving us some key insights too from his past experience in ministry and his business now. So welcome here, Robert. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Derek. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Can you tell us a little bit, Robert, just about who you are, your background, and how you help your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent 20 years in Christian ministry, was a missionary in South America, was an outreach pastor for a local church, and had really grown to serving people, helping people, right? Change bad habits for good habits in ministry. And then when that job transitioned, I made the decision to go into entrepreneurship, and really with the idea of helping business owners build businesses or business development. I wanted to stay in that business development side. So really focus on serving business owners and helping them be more successful with their businesses, and have really narrowed that down now to really focusing on their numbers, and not always necessarily financial numbers, but helping them have KPIs, have numbers that matter, tracking, whether it's in those early stages where they need to be tracking their leads and their meetings and their closes to the later stages where they're tracking their profitability and like we talked earlier about bidding and being able to do estimates and
Yeah.
knowing their numbers well enough to be able to price a job correctly.
Yeah, definitely super important information to know. And yeah, I like how you mentioned knowing your numbers isn't all just about reading financial statements. A lot of it is your client acquisition cost, your number of leads, different marketing avenues, and kind of pinpointing where you should focus your time and what's really making a difference when everything boils down to the bottom line there. So yeah, great to have you on here. And profit, like, you're profit expert. Profit to me, it's really an enabler that a lot of business owners, they want more free time, they want less hassle, they maybe want to grow their business, and profit enables you to be able to do that. When you have a profitable business, you can afford to take a step back, you can afford to put some more money into marketing or hiring new personnel or what have you. So it really creates a healthy organization. So let's jump right in. How can contractors, increase their profits? What works for profitability? I know you mentioned before that listeners can get free profit assessment, I believe, that they can do at profitroadmap.com. So we'll put some links in the description for that. But how can we improve profits, Robert?
Yeah, well, so first thing is really there's some mindset issues for a lot of business owners, right? A lot of business owners start their businesses and then they talk with a CPA and they have these conversations about taxes. And they start to make some of their business choices based around the taxation possibility and this fear of having to pay more taxes. And the worst line that I'll ever hear business owners say, especially when they're taking people out to eat and they're doing conferences and they're doing all these events, is, well, it's tax deductible. Mm-hmm. Holy smoke. You're spending your business's money. You're spending the family food because you're spending your profit when you're saying that this is tax deductible. And helping a business owner start to recognize that profit is not a bad word, that profit is necessary to feed your family. And yes, there are absolutely strategies. You need to work with a good CPA that understands the taxation strategies and ways to avoid paying the IRS more than you're supposed to. But you need to build a profitable business, and you need to be able to have that profit to pay yourself, to pay your employees well, but to have those freedoms that you were talking about, right? Freedom to have time to spend with your family, freedom to not be working on Saturdays and Sundays, freedom to be not stuck on a job site for 18 hours a day because you feel like, you have no other choice but to get this done. And so a lot of business owners drive themselves into a work frenzy because they don't have enough cash flow and they don't have enough profitability from each job to support their cash needs.
Yeah, having some built-in profits, baked into your estimates and your company is incredibly important. First, for the freedom aspect that we mentioned, but also just as resiliency as well. If the project doesn't go well, or there's some hardship, or you get injured, there's any number of things that can come up in life. And when business is flowing and everything's good, that's great. But when things slow down, that's often when, the times can get hard, and having that extra profit enables you to make sure that your big thing is legacy, that you're able to leave a legacy, and that you're going to be building a company that can survive those downturns or those difficult times. So yeah, incredibly important. Mistakes are huge learning experiences. We've all made tons in our life. Can you tell me about a mistake that maybe you've made, or you see that's common, and how you overcame it, and how you do things differently now?
Well, for me, it was that bank account spending, right? So, using the bank account to decide whether or not a big purchase is, there's money in the bank, I can make a purchase, or, there's money in the bank, I can give myself a raise or take an owner draw. For me, it was really the realization of how important that cash is. And I know, working with contractors, especially as far north as you are, this is a seasonal sport. There are definitely times when you wake up and it's not going to be possible to do work today. And so having that cushion you were talking about, having that ability to recognize just because there's money in the bank doesn't mean you're supposed to spend it. And so changing those habits, whether you follow profit first and you move money into separate accounts, or you have the self-discipline to make your decisions not based on what's in your bank account, but what's based on your plan. And it's really helping business owners decide what their plan really needs to be.
Yeah, great point there. You nailed it on the head for sure. I've got in hot water from this myself, especially as a younger entrepreneur, where you start getting larger jobs, getting more money flowing, your bank account's looking good, but not realizing that, things can change. And also that if you're taking too much money out and kind of facilitating, bigger, better lifestyle, or even just maintaining your higher lifestyle than you can afford, it weakens your business and actually is going to slow you down in the long run. It may seem like you're getting ahead, but if you don't have some savings and some contingencies and profitability, things can turn, and you can have a difficulty. And even with growing, often you see the effects early on, because it's like you get some new clients, you get some new jobs, things are really moving, but then you start hiring people, or you get this new system or software, and it really snowballs quickly that as you scale and grow, you're actually going to have less cash flow often, unless you've pre-gamed it properly with your, like, the process of cash flow, that how you're collecting invoices and deposits and stuff like that. But going from like 5 jobs to 10 jobs, you can quickly run out of money really fast if you don't have that cash flow in place. So
then really you break critical. A big piece of equipment.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta, transmission goes in your truck, or, the generator goes, or whatever you're working with. There's a great saying that you'll be wealthy when you love investing money more than you love spending it. So it can feel great to spend money, buy new things, get that new truck, get that new gear, get the new tools, get a new boat or house or motorhome or whatever. But yeah, when you love putting that money, working for you in investments, and, having cash in the bank, it'll give you more confidence.
Derek, this equipment is an investment. This truck is an investment. It's an investment in my company, Derek. You don't understand.
And it's a tax write-off, right? So, hey, everybody wins.
Win-win.
But yeah, there's definitely a good financial management, budgeting, and just keeping your ego in check. Ego is actually can be healthy to a certain extent, but at some point, if you're just kind of keeping up with the Joneses or just wanting to look flash, then yeah, it can come and kind of bite you in the ass later. So
well, that's why so much of what you and I do is so important, is because we come alongside a business owner and we give them the opportunity to create their plan, right? We're not coming alongside and saying, hey, you need Derek's plan or you need my plan. We're coming alongside and saying, what is it that you want your business to accomplish for you? And then based on that, let's create the business around that. Whether that means you got to be able to do 10 jobs in a year, you got to be able to do 20 jobs in a year, and then what do those jobs look like, and what do those jobs cost, and we can start actually creating a plan that the business owner can follow. And the truth in that planning process is that starts to reveal, man, if we go from 5 jobs a year to 10 jobs, or all at once, right? 5 jobs that we're running now, but we're going to run 10 jobs in the next quarter, right? That you look at the equipment needs, the staffing needs, and all those extra things that'll start to come up, and you start to recognize, holy smoke, I make less money doing 10 jobs at once than I made doing 5 jobs. It's like, But if they don't put it down on paper and they don't have this conversation with somebody guiding them through this planning process, they make these decisions thinking it's going to benefit them and lead them to where they want to go. And what it really leads them into is being enslaved by their business.
Yeah, having that trusted advisor, that second set of eyes to not be maybe as tangled up, seeing the forest from the trees of, like, as a business owner, you may not even understand like necessarily where all your finances are at or how things are going. And having that someone, with a fresh perspective can really just kind of be like, what about this? Or have you thought of that? And, there's things that, in hindsight may be obvious or like, you didn't think about, but when you're every day just trying to, get things done and, try not to work yourself crazy, and you can miss stuff or not be aware of things for sure. So I'm all about systems and processes and making things easier and, following steps and all that kind of stuff. What's a system that you use to help contractors be profitable, or something that you've used in your business that's been helpful? What do systems kind of mean for you, or what's a system that's benefited you?
Yeah, so obviously systems, having a system in your case for contractors, it's having a system for bidding a job, right? Being able to know how much labor is involved, right? Some of that you can create in a spreadsheet. Some guys use some software solutions for helping them bid their jobs, but this is another place where they've got to know their numbers, right? They got to know the costs of each little piece that the project's going to take. They got to know the overhead piece, right? So I can overrun it by 10 or 15% to make sure that I have enough materials. And then of course their labor costs, and they got to know their what is the full cost of labor, not just, hey, I'm paying Joe $10 an hour, it's 10 hours, so that'd be $100. No, there's other costs involved. And then of course the guys that take out their crew after work and they buy them all a beer and they do all these other things that add a little expense to, when you buy the crew lunch or you do some of these things, and those aren't bad things, but you've got to plan for them. And so having a system, a spreadsheet that you've pre-designed for doing those, especially on, the bidding process, because that's such an important element in getting a job, right? And being able to complete the job and still have some money at the end when you finish the job.
Definitely. Yeah, you pointed out something really important there, because, materials is generally, you buy 2x4, it costs you this, you mark it up, and you kind of have 15-20% for waste or what have you. But with labor, things can really get out of hand quick when you have not bid a job properly. First on the the amount of time it's going to take, but also just in the labor cost of what it's going to cost you, like the true cost of having an employee on a job site. And generally it's going to be at least double what the wages that you're paying them when you factor in things like taxes, things like administration, training, gear, if you're buying them hats and clothes and things like that. So
but how often does the owner end up on the job site finishing the job because he can't afford to pay anybody else to do it?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big part of the profitability thing there. And again, ties back to the estimating. Is there management time? Are you charging for your time to manage your employees, subcontractors, clients, the job, ordering materials, all that stuff? I talk to so many contractors that are just sort of like, we just have a markup, whether that's 15, 20, 40, 50%. And that's where I make my money in it. But you're always going to have to be doing that because you can't afford to hire anybody to do that job. And you don't really know how much time you're spending on projects. So definitely kind of figuring out, I guess, both your crew and your team's labor costs, but also your own labor costs, because you should be figuring out how much you should be charging for what you're doing. You're providing professional management of someone's project, and just having a percentage doesn't really tell you how much time you're spending on a project and how much you should be charging for your time on projects. So yeah, definitely a really important piece of the puzzle there to making sure you have a good estimating system and staying profitable. So that's what it's all about. What's some of the best advice that you've received throughout your career? If you could pick out some great advice that you've received from somebody.
Early on, especially for your first or second year business owner, is you've got to hustle, right? And if you're a contractor and you do bathroom remodels, you've got to be willing to go door to door and start knocking on doors and asking people if they want their bathroom remodeled, or they want their kitchen remodeled, or they need their fence replaced. Like, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there. Too many business owners, especially today, believe that they could just put the little website up, they can put themselves out on social media, and the world will flock to them because they have a beautiful logo. And the reality is inbound marketing is expensive, it's time consuming, and it doesn't really work. And so until you spend a crap ton of money, and most of us, when we're starting out those first few years, you can't be spending the amount of money you need to spend to get the leads to come to you. So you've really got to go to them. So you've got to be networking, you've got to be connecting. So besides going door to door, I recommend making those connections with the other business owners that serve the kinds of clients that you serve. So go into the tile store and talk to the owner and say, hey, for people come in here looking for tile, I'd love to be a contractor that you recommend. Go into the fence store that's selling the fence posts and the fence pickets and say, hey, when people come in here and they're asking about fences, I'd love for you to recommend me. And I pay a referral fee if that's allowable, right, in your industry. And so, be able to get yourself out there and get referral partners that are recommending you, right? If you're a specialist in the bathroom or the kitchen, find somebody that does something else or some other part of the house and get them to recommend you. Another great resource is realtors. Start befriending realtors and go out there and meet realtors, because realtors are doing what? They're walking inside houses all day long. And so find the great realtors that are finding houses that are getting put on the market and be their expert. Be the guy that's going to come in and help them get that house more value because you've done some fixes to it for them to be able to sell it. And so find referral partners, but be willing to hustle in those early days to get some of those jobs, to get some reputation and get some work done. Because those are the guys that are going to have businesses in year 5.
Yeah, definitely. This is some early advice I give to new, entrepreneurs starting out. And generally the first thing is all their other stuff to the business, you'll be able to probably figure that out, or you already kind of know it. The sales and marketing is probably the key kind of skill that you really need to focus on when you start, because that's going to be kind of the most eye-opening experiences. You can't just advertise or throw out some social media and expect, instant responses and to get a lot of business. You really have
Even though everywhere you look, they're going to tell you it'll work. They're going to tell you it'll work. When you go online and search for it, right? Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, all these ads, they tell you it's going to work because they want to take your money. But I'm going to tell you, the most bang for your buck is to go meet people face to face, shake hands, kiss babies, do whatever you got to do to get business.
Yeah, and there's a few reasons for that. Early stage, startup, when you're getting going in your business, is again, sales and marketing, you're not going to be super knowledgeable about it. So spending money on advertising and a bunch of these other types of stuff is probably not going to be effective for you, and it's going to hinder your cash flow.
And most people don't have the revenue for it. You need pretty good revenue to really spend in that space.
Yeah. Definitely. So putting out a lot of energy in outbound type marketing, and what you said about the partner network, your networking is super important. And businesses that kind of dovetail with yours, that have similar clients but not direct competitive competition, are great people to get to know, and definitely a way to kind of refer service back and forth, because you're actually doing kind of a value add for your clients, and they can be doing it for their clients, where maybe they've had whatever they're doing, a renovation, maybe they need cleaning services, maybe they need some new gutters or what have you. So there's an easy way to kind of hey, have you thought about this? And you can easily refer someone. And I find in life, what you want, you often need to give. So if you want referrals, if you want business, you have to be willing to kind of refer and give business, and it's a reciprocal kind of relationship there. So, but definitely great advice to be really focused on your outbound marketing. And when you're starting out, again, nobody's really going to know you. Things aren't probably going to be in place. So getting that no trust factor, up is going to take that personal outreach, type of touch over just some advertising of your company, which no one's really heard about because you just started, right? So,
right.
Big distinction there for sure. Robert, can you tell me about a success story of a client, of how you helped them and some of the results or things that you worked on with them?
Sure. One of my favorites is a young man who was working as a contractor, busting his tail, but started to recognize, hey, these other contractors, these older guys, right? They got bad knees, they got bad backs, and he basically barely finished high school and hadn't read a book since high school. And when we started working together, and first I connected him to Audible, because that was kind of the obvious option, right? Was
Audible is awesome.
Listen to a book. And then he started finding YouTube videos, and the personal development side for him, he just became absorbed in that personal development space, and it allowed him to believe a little bit more. He started selling RC remote control car parts out of his garage, and then bought a location. And I mean, yeah,
Very
so
cool.
now he's actually got a storefront in the ritzy part of town. And the guy wanted to retire, so he got a pretty decent deal. But because he built a reputation on through social media, as crazy as that is, of hey, I needed these parts, so I bought a couple extra. Who else needs one? And people would start walking to his garage to start getting these. And now he's got in 2020, 2021, little thanks to the government and some of the money that they rolled out for people that was extra, he did $1.5 million in sales, and has the business of his dream. That's kind of, he's playing with remote control cars all day long. But it really progressed from that step of personal growth and really self-belief, right? Believing in something, that something else might be possible. And then that leap, right? We talked a little bit earlier on a different call about the big leap, and being able to make that leap into a space of, I don't know, it feels unknown. It feels insecure the first time you step into that entrepreneurship instead of having a paycheck. But the people that are willing to take that little bit of risk have the opportunity to create some great rewards.
Yeah, great story. I love to hear that, someone taking something they enjoy and their passion and creating a business and being successful at it. That's just the dream, right? And having, like you said, working on yourself and that personal development to be able to get there and be able to visualize and acknowledge, what you want and go for it. That's something inspiring for sure. So your background in ministry and leadership, what are kind of some actionable tips or things that contractors can be thinking of? Often kind of the limit to a business's growth is very much involved with the leadership ability of the owner and their ability to lead and manage their team. What's some leadership advice and tips that you could give to our audience?
Well, we kind of mentioned it earlier, right? There's obviously that self-discipline, but really I think the most successful entrepreneurs, all the way up to, you were talking earlier about investors, is really the ones that are willing to delay gratification, right? Put off buying the truck, put off buying use the old truck as long as you can, use the old saw as long as you can, because the longer that you can delay gratification as a business, and then of course as an individual, the longer you can allow those investments and that cash to work for you. And I think our culture is just inundating us with this need for instant gratification, instant shipping, instant eating, we want everything now. We want it before we even ask for it. And in a lot of ways, all these new features and AI and all this technology is starting to honor that, right? It's giving people what they want before they even ask for it. Except the reality is, the best skill set you can have is the willingness to wait. Yeah,
developing that will to recognize that maybe I don't need this right now. Maybe I can quiet my mind a little bit. And big time. It's easier than ever, to get credit, to get what you want right away. And I always think back to the marshmallow test. If people haven't heard about it, they had a group of kids go into a room and they gave them a marshmallow and said, if I come back in, I don't know what it was, 15 minutes, if you still have the marshmallow, I'll give you 2. And the ones that were able to delay gratification and wait, not eat the marshmallow right away, they did a study. I don't know, again, what it was exactly. You'd have to go look it up. But like 20 years later or whatever, the ones who were able to delay their gratification were much more successful than the ones who just wanted to eat the marshmallow right away. So definitely, whatever you're going through, be able to put off, that instant reward and really focus, celebrate your achievements, but at the same time, don't get too overwhelmed with having the newest, greatest, latest thing and delaying gratification. So really great point on leadership there. So I want to thank you so much, Robert, for coming on. What's the best way for our audience to connect with you if they want to learn more about, becoming profitable and the coaching that you do?
Yeah, Robert at profitroadmap.com. You can also find me, Robert C. Peterson, on LinkedIn. And we enjoy a conversation. So please feel free to reach out, connect with me.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, definitely reach out to Robert and get your business humming and running profitably. We'll put links in the description below here to what Robert mentioned there to get connected with his website and his links there. Thanks again, Robert. Really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate the time. This was fantastic.
Awesome. Perfect.